Hi, Team Flyer. How are you? How are you on this beautiful Wednesday? Here we are basically mid-June, I would say, if the 10th counts as mid. No, probably not, but still. So we are here today with this beautiful woman called Ivette Garcia. But before we introduce her properly, we must tell you once more that we had a super special podcast surprise on June 5th about some wonderful goodies coming up. So I suggest to go back and listen to that and go back to those posts and sign up for the newsletters for just to get all the news right away. We have so many exciting news coming in June. So definitely mid-June, in about a week from now. So stay tuned for that through all our social media, through the Always Believer, of course, and the dot Ariana dot Arredondo. But, they're both linked together, so they're easy to be found. And now, definitely, without further ado, let's get to our today's guest, the beautiful and the wonderful Ivette Garcia. Hi, Ivette.
Hi, how are you?
Doing pretty good. Pretty energetic over here. How are you?
The same. I'm closing out my day, so I do actually still have some energy and probably need to do a little bit of yoga later
Oh,
just to
yes.
kind of, reel it all in.
I agree. I used to do it a little bit in the morning, but definitely was like my evenings.
hmm
And due to lack of space and everything else that's going on, I've kind of like shifted that in the morning, but whenever we can, because I definitely understand if like wrapping it all in and just being mindful with oneself. And
hmm
I knew everybody liked you for a million reasons. Now there's one more. You do yoga. There you go.
I do. I'm not pro level, but I do. I do.
Exactly. It's a wonderful hobby. It's a wonderful mindset to have. It really
It
is.
definitely is. Yes, I
And
agree.
like, you know. So you do have a blog called
I
Curves
do.
with Coffee.
I do.
But before we dive in, let's
Yes.
tell us, let's blah, 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 can't speak. Let's talk, there you go, a little bit about you and where you're from and where you're located. Tell us about you, my darling.
Yes. Okay. So I am Ivette Garcia, aka Curves with Coffee. I am a plus size Latina from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. Whoop, whoop. So I currently have the blog, and that is the platform that I actually use to just encourage us curvy girls and plus size girls. I feel like we don't have that enough. I think we're slowly evolving, and you're getting to see more curvy women just kind of be confident in their own skin. So that's what I'm there. I share my everyday struggles, cute fashion fits that I find reasonably priced, because that's another thing we always talk about when you go into the plus sizes. They're a little bit more pricier than what you would do if you're just an average size 7 or 8. So I tried to bargain shop. I'm a thrifter. That's who I am. No shame there. I love thrifting, always catching some type of deal. I'm also an encourager. That's a big part of who I am, and I love to be. I love to encourage women to pursue their dreams, their goals, anything that's gonna kind of just make them overall a better woman, make them happy with who they are, and just help them promote that self-confidence from within. So however it is that I can find it, I'm pushing it. Let's do it. Don't tell me you thought about starting something, because I'm like, when we're gonna do it, let's talk about it. That's
Let's
me.
do it now. We're starting now live,
Right now. Let's do it right now. Get the
Exactly.
pen, get the paper. Let's get it rolling.
I adore that mindset so much, and we have
hmm
loads of things in common, of course, because that method or that ideology, whatever you want to call it, that mindset rolls and aligns with ours as well. And what I did back in April, I finally launched or started, or whatever word you want to insert here, a new, Instagram account for my personal use, because the
hmm
Always Believer for me, it's all of you, it's all of us, it's a community. We're in this together. I have stories, or not me, but like we all have stories from different points of views of empowering, strong, wonderful, inspiring women for the most part. And I love that. But I also wanted to make sure that within what we do over here, the Always Believer, there's a bit of me. And with me, much like you were saying, I am that curvy Latina, and I want to feel
hmm
not only empowered with me, myself, and I, and like feel that sexy and just that vibe, but also like empower others. And
Absolutely.
when I opened the Instagram account, it is a mixture of course, my coaching program, so you can find me more directly there, of course. Also, our new adventures coming up, without a doubt, that in June there's like huge announcements coming up through that through that Instagram handle as well. But then also with like a nice big touch of who I am. And that's kind of what you were saying, basically. You kind of described
Hmm.
me because of that. Kind of like you don't see a lot of curvy Latinas out there. And even though
You
most
don't.
of us are, I guess, or like they're like it is something
Yeah,
that
that's a standard. Like I mean, when you think about a Latina, normally on the average, they're like a size 13, 14 going up. And of course you have like petite, size Latinas, but for the most part, like we're curvy, we're voluptuous. Like that's just who we are.
exactly. And I just want to show my body off. And I mean in a really good way. It sounded weird.
Yes,
But I
yes, of
like,
course, in a good way. Yeah, I just want to be comfortable with it. And, I tell women all the time that, like, just be comfortable in your skin. And I have to tell you, I cannot express like the amount of women that I've had reach out to me through either Instagram or my blog, and they've commented and they'll tell me like, oh, hey, I bought a 2-piece bathing suit because of you. And like, my husband really likes it, or I felt really cute at the pool, or when I went to the beach, I was comfortable. It's the first time ever I wore 2-piece. And I'm just like, that's why I do it. That's exactly why I do it.
exactly why.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just to inspire and encourage others.
Hmm.
Hence why like I knew for a fact the moment that I think you started talking to me, probably through mutual friends and community and whatnot, I really loved the name of your blog that we'll get into, obviously, but also that message, because we have a lot of people here with Go to Fly. We have Emily, which shout out to Emily. She also talks about loving your body, and she's straight up from the States, so her
Hmm.
body's obviously different, but she started with her anorexia and whatnot, which is a whole different vibe of its own. And even though we support different kind of people, it's always really nice to also support the Latin community and raise it even higher as well. Because
Absolutely.
once again, like you said, it's not seen a lot. And
It's
like,
not.
and we're everywhere. Like we're here and we're here to stay. We've been here to stay for a while now. So
Yeah, we're not going nowhere. This is it.
exactly. And this links in, this is the perfect thing. If you heard the last episode, basically, with for any of your flyers out there from June 5th, it ties into what we're going to be talking a lot about in Latina, and that's something super special, and that's project's really special to me because it's going to bring these kind of stories to life even more so. So super, super happy
Hmm.
to share that with you, especially this month. That's so important because it aligns with the new projects that we're, broadcasting and launching and whatnot.
Awesome.
Um,
Yeah, I'm
so
happy to be
thrilled.
aboard.
Yeah,
Yes, love it.
definitely. So Curves with Coffee. Why is it called Curves with Coffee? I
So,
wonder why. Latinas like
well,
coffee? Who knew?
I mean, a little bit, un poquito, un ching. Man, I remember being a kid and like my abuela sneaking coffee, giving it to me, and she's like, "No le digas a tu mamá," and I'm like, "No, abuela, I ain't telling her nothing." But curves obviously is because, for the curvy girls. And I specifically wanted something that started with the word curves, just to kind of draw in the attention so you can kind of set the expectation of what you're going to be looking into. This is the curvy community, the plus size community, and this is also curves and confidence. So that was a big thing for me. Obviously the coffee, because cafecito, I love it. It is just something that I love. And I'm that girl. I have a couple cups a day and I get kind of snooty. I can't have coffee from like Dunkin' Donuts or just like regular. I'm always like, "But out there, who made the coffee? What kind of brew is it? Is that French press?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah, let's do it." So it's always big. I mean, I grew up on Pilon and Café Bustero since, being a kid. That's kind of like what we had. And it wasn't until I became an adult that I realized that that's like espresso coffee. I was like, "Oh my God, my abuela was giving me that." So that's kind of why I wanted to combine two things that I love. The cafecito and of course me just being a curvy girl. So I was like, let's combine those two things together because they go so perfect.
They do. They really, really do. What background are you from that you didn't tell us?
I am so sorry. I am
Do not be
Puerto
sorry
Rican. I did not
whatsoever.
tell you that, right? I sure enough didn't. I'm
I mean, I'm
actually
pretty sure
Puerto
they can
Rican.
guess by the way you talk, but just for people who can't
I,
guess, she's
who
Puerto
can't
Rican.
guess? Yes, I'm Puerto Rican.
Exactly.
Definitely,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Oh goodness, I have another question, but we're gonna get to that question a little bit later. Let me continue with your blog first.
Yes.
So you have said everywhere, and it's something that just resonates so much. And as a curvy girl myself who does zero fashion, because I don't, that's just not me. You're not gonna find any of fashion post as far as I know, unless I get styled by someone like you, for example.
I'm like, wait a minute, we could do this first time. We could do
There
a
you go. There
FaceTime.
you go. It was like first, also the first time.
FaceTime. Yeah,
That's my
FaceTime.
gosh.
Yeah, that's it.
So you said it's not what size you wear. It's about how you wear your size.
Exactly. Yes, that is key with me. That is major.
So tell us about
It
that
is.
message.
Yes, that is so important. And I think, I it's not that it's hard to explain, but I try to remind most of my curvy girlfriends, because the first thing that you always look at is like your size. And when you go into a department store, your size number, right? Let's talk about number, right? So we're talking about 14, 16, 18, you're talking about all those numbers. They're going to fluctuate depending on designer and how they're actually creating and how it's cut. So in one store, you're like an extra large. In another store, you're a 2X. And then another store, you're 3X. And you're like, espérate, estoy gorda, ¿qué pasó? And it's not that, it's just the cut, so for me, I'm like, don't even worry about that actual size. Do not worry about the size that the brands, like some of the designers are giving you, and that society is saying like, hey, this is your box, these are your numbers, and this is what you're supposed to be wearing. It's actually how you wear it. And as long as you know your body type, you're able to figure out like what's actually flattering for you and then how you actually wear it. Because I know there's things just for the way that my body type is that certain tops like I can't wear because I look like a little football player. But I'm like, oh, okay, this is not really flattering to me. But it's more of just kind of knowing what's your fit, your body type, and how the clothes are going to look on you. But also it's really your confidence in how you wear it and what you wear. So it's the attitude. Once you put that on, how is it making you feel? And I always tell everyone when I style my friends and clients, and I tell them, how is this making you feel right now? How is this color? The color looks amazing on you. I'm going to tell you it looks great. I'm going to tell you it looks fantastic on you because I'm not going to have you looking crazy. But how does it make you feel inside? Like, do you feel beautiful? Do you feel empowered? And that's key. That's pretty much it. Because I mean, on a regular, you can find me with some leggings on and a t-shirt and you can't tell me I'm not cute. Like, I'm just like coming out
Oh,
like,
I
oh,
agree. I'm literally wearing leggings and a t-shirt right now.
right. Right. So for me, I'm like, oh, I'm cute. Like, I feel great, but it's because, I'm comfortable in it. And, I'm like, oh, being comfortable in your skin and your size, just wear it however it is.
Oh, that message is really powerful. Like, as a woman, once again, as a woman, period, and then as a woman who's Latin and curvy, and just going through the struggles, I feel like not only going through the department stores, of course, but also because I don't really like fashion. I don't mind clothes. I love comfortable clothes, as in like not because
Right.
I want oversized, even though I went through that phase, but we'll get to that in a
Oh
second.
yeah, I did that too.
But like I'm more sporty like as well. I can get really
Mm-hmm.
girly. I love my dresses. I love my cleavage. Like if you know me, you know that's me. But because the process is so tiring as a person who doesn't really not care what she wears, but like it's not the most fundamental thing. It does get pretty tiring, the whole like, oh
It
my god.
does.
And not only the number, because I feel like at least I'm in that personal mindset place or whatever you want to call it, that the number's not really a big thing for me anymore, thankfully, but it is more so of like not finding the right size, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Not because the number's too big or too small or higher or lower. It's just because like anytime you want to find like a decent pair of jeans, you're like,
I have to like look.
well, I'm here for the next hour of my lifetime, whereas
You're like, this is what I have to do. And that is the number one thing that I hear from clients and friends. They're just like, hey, listen, it's not my thing. I don't want to go. I don't want to be at the store. It doesn't do anything for me. And I'm just like, well, how? I love it. Like, what do you mean? For me, I'm like, I tell people, I'm like, it's like a natural high. Like I walk into a store and I said, it's so hard to explain. I get like tunnel vision and I see colors and prints that pop out at me. And I'm just like, I can spot something like on the other side. And I'm like, hold on, there's something over there that's like green. And I think it has some leaves on it. It's calling my attention, and I'm like, oh, look at this blouse. Like,
yeah,
so
no.
I'll do it. Yeah, and for some people it's not. And ironically, as crazy as it sounds, it doesn't take me long to shop. I am not someone that spends the entire day at the mall, because that is just not going to happen. I'm not at the store. Something happens when I enter into a store and I'm just like, am I going to get something today? I feel like it is. And after some time, I'm like, you know what? Today's not a winning day. We're not going to find something. Let me shoot over to accessories. But overall, that's what I do.
I feel like it's a whole different area of like expertise for me. And do not get me started on accessories. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, no worries. That's
but,
what we're here for. That's what us amigas are here for you. We'll do it for you. We'll do it for
exactly. Because yeah, it's hard thinking about it. I mean, you know, when I was much younger, I was skinnier and whatnot, and I was never really super skinny because that's just not my body type.
Mm-hmm.
And over the years, if I was like really, whenever I've been really struggling with myself internally, you can tell externally as well when you go back
Mm-hmm.
into it. And luckily enough, for many years, I've been doing better. I went to like therapy. Like now I'm a wellness coach. Like now it's all doing really, really great. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, the downside to all of this is that I got diagnosed with hypothyroidism. And all of a sudden, my weight just went up. And I had no idea. I was going to the gym. I was doing my yoga. I
Mm-hmm.
was eating healthy.
Yes.
I'm like, where the fudge did all this weight come from? Like, what happened here? And so now it's kind of a feel, not like before, thankfully, because I've overcome a whole lot and it comes from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know it's like hormonal, it's like imbalance, and it's something with my body, so you get it. But at the same time, some point of life when you're like staring at your closet / at your body / you need to go to, you know, put on some clothes and you're exactly, especially events or stuff like that, you're like, oh wait, you have to put the two and two together. So I definitely appreciate people like you, definitely in general, but especially you, because you kind of do it with that, you know, sazon, with that like, girl, amiga, cariño mío, venga pa acá. I got
yes,
you.
we could do it. We could do it. Got you really quick. I styled one of my girlfriends a couple years ago, and we went to a live recording of a TV show, and they kind of featured her for eye candy. And the host was like, man, you look fabulous. And she's like, she did it. Like, she's like, my friend did it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, that's just, it's what I love to do. It's just something that comes naturally. And I know at times I always tell people, like, if you're not a shopper and you can't hire someone to, like an actual stylist, someone to do it for you, you have to mentally prepare yourself for it. And I have these conversations with my girls all the time. Please don't go when you're too full. You know, you go when you feel well. You have to understand it's always going to be warmer in there. Minimize the number of garments that you're taking in. And, you know, that way it's like you're trying on with just like kind of a little bit of patience, and you're like, okay, and don't go with such, not high expectations, but just go with understanding. They may not have this. It's okay. I'll be able to find something. So it's a whole process, girl.
It is a whole process. See, things I didn't even know about that I didn't have, like, I wouldn't really thought about it until I meet someone like you, and like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It makes sense with like everything else, because whenever I have my own clients with our wellness coaching and programs and whatnot, they're like, oh, Ariadna, that makes sense. So this is like the same thing goes both ways.
It's the same thing. Yeah, it's just shopping. I'm like, there's rules and techniques to it. I'm like,
it's like, I got you.
Yeah.
So going back a little bit more on the same topic, of course, but not shopping per se. I know that we talked about this word, and we're going to bring it up again. So we want to tell our audience what you feel about this word, which is a plus size woman.
Oh, I'm voluptuous. I'm amazing. We are the extra cherry on top. That's exactly who we are. It doesn't have a stigma for me. I feel like if anything, it's beautiful. It's embracing who we are. It's acknowledging us as plus size women. It's kind of like, I'm in here, like, you have to take a look at me and this is who I am. So I love it. And I think as well, just, you know, throughout time, there's been such an increase with some plus size models that they've also are just like, hey, look at me, that now it's promoting more confident for us curvy girls, that you're just like, oh, well, you know, if she can do it, I can do it. And I think it helps when you see someone that you can kind of identify to them in size, or even looking like a Latina model. You know, you're just like, oh, she's Latina, like she's not a size 8, like, you know, I feel comfortable. Like, if she can do it, I can do it. So I love it. I embrace it. I always tell my girls, like, embrace your curves. You're a plus size. That's totally fine. But it's funny because every once in a while I have a conversation with someone and I'll tell them, I'm like, oh, well, you know, I'm a plus size. And they're like, oh, you're not really big. And I'm like, I'm in double digits. But again, it's that box that society has gave us, right?
Exactly.
It's that label of numbers. Now we're going back to the numbers and how designers, they structure their clothes, and they're just like, well, here's a box and this is plus, and oh, we only carry up to a 12. And then it's not like a regular 12, right? Like it's like a 10. So, it's that little box, but I love it. To me, it's beautiful. If you're plus, I'm like, you're voluptuous. You're that cherry on top. Embrace it and let them know that you are good. Yes.
That you're here, you're ready to shine and
That's
thrive
it.
and
I'm ready
keep
to
on
shine.
going.
Exactly.
It's something that I personally like feel inspired and motivated by, because it's like that, like you see other girls and women just being up there and doing their thing and being in bathing suits or in lingerie, and not like just like not in a
A tasteful way.
basically, yeah, exactly, in a tasteful way, through even big brands and stuff like that I see like they're doing now as well. And I'm like, that's wonderful. Like that's how empowered I want to feel with myself. And I know it's gotten
Hmm.
me a long way to get there. Thankfully, I took a nice big leap for the past few years, and now it's like, oh, okay, kind of rebuilding because of hyperthyroidism, because it kind of
Hmm.
came out of the blue, and you're like, okay, let me
Yeah, baby
go back
steps.
up.
Hmm.
And that's kind of leads up to like the next question, because how was it like growing up for you?
Oh, yeah, that is why I have Curves with Coffee now. So growing up, it was very minimal. There weren't really too many designers that actually did anything for plus size. And if they did, it was expensive, right? Eran de marca, ropa de marca. And of course, it wasn't something that mommy can afford growing up. She's gonna, buy you whatever it is that she can get her hands on. So I've always been kind of like a chunky girl growing up. Like I remember just kind of like middle school and high school, that's who I was. In high school, to the ending of middle school and some of high school, I was a tomboy because I couldn't find any clothes, things that I like my style. It was never a size thing for me so much. It was more of a style and fashion. And I used to be like, why do they make ugly clothes for big girls? Like, I don't understand.
I
Like,
agree.
why do we
Preach.
have like those weird materials? Like, what is going on? So for a couple years, I was like a tomboy. I wore men's jeans, men's shirts, and just the sneakers all the time. Never did shoes, never did none of that. And a good friend introduced me during my high school years to Lane Bryant. And I was like, oh, what is this? And she was like, yeah, let me take you over there. And she's like, my treat, I'm going to get you something. And I was like, okay, all right. And then I got there and I saw the prices. I was like, ¿qué esto? I was like, this is expensive. Like, I was like, I can't afford this. And she got me a shirt. I remember that like so clearly. It was like a green, like a dressy button down shirt that she got for me. And I wore that thing out. You could siempre, it was kitipong. Until I got to the age that I was like, okay, now I have a job, I can buy my own stuff. But even then it was still trying to juggle what can I afford to buy for myself personally, because they've always been pretty pricey. So it was always, it was not a lack of confidence in who I was in my size. I was more bummed that I was just like, man, we need stylists, like we need flavor, like we're not
We
just
need flavor.
bland. Yeah. And I realized like some of the plus size stores that were around, I don't know if it was just in my area where I grew up at, but it was just like Wella clothes. And I was just like, oh, this is not my style. Like, I really don't know. So that's what kind of kept pushing me to dress like a boy. And I was just like pretty much a tomboy on that. Cause I was
I
like, oh,
agree with that completely, because
mm-hmm.
I did have my tomboy phase, because it was comfortable, of course, but also because of what you said. Like, and I still to this day have a couple of t-shirts that are like not oversized by any means anymore,
Mm-hmm.
but did come from the men's size, because like stuff for
Yeah.
our size is still not as pretty, and you're like, I deserve to be pretty. Like,
Right. You're just like, what's going on? Like, why don't we have
exactly.
style? Like, who is not making this up? I'm like, get a couple of us curvy girls in the room. We can kind of talk about something.
Exactly.
So yeah, so that was, it was a little bit different kind of, growing up. I had to figure out a way to adapt. And then it wasn't until, I became of age and started like working on my own and, saving my little bucks to get like certain things. But I've also always been like a thrifter. Thrift shopping is kind of like my thing. Um, so I would find things here and there at the thrift shops when I was younger, like just to kind of pick up that were my size, and it was the marcas, but it was, at the thrift shop. It was somebody else's. No shame. I would put it together cute. You couldn't tell me nothing.
Oh, I believe you. I totally believe you with that vibe that you have, and that, sasson, like I said. Like, I
Yeah, I'm
see
like,
you happening.
I'm like, make it work, make it work. That's all it is.
It's a make it work moment.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
do you see yourself represented currently?
Currently, yes, I do. I want to say not enough, but I do see myself currently represented, and I think it's more because I'm intentionally in seeking those women that are out there that are in the actual, like, one, I'm not a model. That's not who I am, you know? So I'm like, I'm not a model. But I see more of the curvy Latinas just kind of out there in the influencing and modeling. So that helps, but that's because I'm intentionally looking for them. Like, who are these women? Like, where are these Latinas in the industry? The designers, you know, you have like the Joanna Ortiz, you have also Madeline Jones. She does plus size model magazine, and she's a Latina and she's a big girl. So I'm like, you have to look, but we're there. Not an
Mm-hmm.
influx, not as much as we should be. But I feel like we're there. People notice, and you can kind of see it. And I also feel as though that you're seeing more designers start to cater more to the plus size community. Like, they're starting to expand their lines and say, okay, well, let's make these particular designs, or let's make this line for the plus size, you know, even if it's limited, but they're still kind of expanding and trying to add it into their designs. So slowly, yeah, I feel like I am. I feel like there's a voice for Latinas in the plus size community. I definitely feel that way. Yeah,
I
could be more,
definitely
but
definitely agree with what you're saying, because I feel like they are out there finally. Definitely not like, there was when we were growing up. I feel like the big boom just started 2 days ago. What it feels like, really, really
yes,
recently. In other words, so definitely could be more, and I feel like there's a huge need for there to be more,
yes,
because much like the sentence you said, like, if you look for them, they're there. It should be like, oh, they're there even if you don't look for them, because
correct.
we're still beautiful and we're still people and we're still valid. So
Absolutely.
yes,
Yes, we're
please.
here. We're here.
you know I do see that a whole lot. I do agree. Talking about, I was gonna ask you later on, but talking about people you admire, people that you see in the industry, who else do you look up to, or who else are you like noticing, or who else do you recommend?
Oh yeah, so definitely Madeline Jones, definitely she's like super duper amazing. There's also a young lady, she's locally from Philly. Her name is Frankie Taveras. She's also another model that I look up to, because I'm like, she's Latina, she's spicy, she's out there. There's the model Denise as well. She's also been out there for a while, and it took me a minute to like learn that she was Latina. I didn't know she was Latina. It was for a couple of years. So those are definitely like some of the women that I look up to, that I'm just like, you girls are doing it, you know. And I'll follow them on social media, and I'm like clapping for them anytime that I see them. I mean, anytime that I see a Latina plus size doing, you know, I'm just like, yes, you look great, like, you look amazing, like, you know, that's what we do. We build each other up, you know. We should be building each other up. So yeah,
I
those
just
are
think
just
it's
a
so
few.
needed. I feel like it resonates with me a whole lot, like I said, because I'm able to um not only able to be like that kind of not adventurous, but like I would say atrevida. I'm like, how do you say smoke in
Mm-hmm.
English? But a little bit more with those kind of pictures, of course, but also at the same time to know that there's a community out there wanting to see more, and to make sure that we're all body
Yes.
positive and like self-love and self-care, and just kind of it comes hand in hand, that kind of sense. Because
Mm-hmm.
something that we're slowly and surely overcoming as a individual person that we are, sorry, but also as a community. You're like, oh, like, we're here to stay, we're out here doing our
Mm-hmm.
thing. So I definitely feel very inspired and very strongly aligned with what we're saying, without a doubt. My gosh,
Yeah,
believe me.
absolutely. Even the men, like, I'm seeing more of an influx with the men that are kind of plus size men, that they're being out there more, and they're doing more modeling, and just kind of, you know, embracing their chubbiness. You know, they're just like, this is who I am. You know, because they also get that stigma, you know, yes, they get it too, the same way we get it. Maybe not as much, but, you know, sometimes they get overlooked as well.
They
So
do. I do agree with that one as well, that we kind of forget about them. Not on purpose by any means, but you're
yes,
like,
of course.
we get it more for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm,
And so, like,
definitely.
stand there, stand our ground.
Yeah, yeah, that's the
Um,
way that I feel. I'm always like, for years, even growing up, I was always the gordita for my friends. Like I was always la única que era gordita for a while. So I'm like, oh no, I'm here. I'm here. Yeah.
It's like, I'm happy with who I am.
You're gonna see me. You're gonna see my personality before you see my size. Like that's just me. That's just who I am.
Oh, you can totally feel it. You can totally,
Yeah.
totally feel it without a doubt. Oh my gosh.
Thanks.
Just like through the screen and whatnot. I was thinking of our next question is, so let's go a little bit back to what you do.
Mm-hmm.
What are you offering with your blog, with your message? What is your focus? Because you did talk about clients and your styling services, but you can tell us a little bit more of what you're up
Yes,
to.
definitely. So styling services that I do offer, if you have an event, your birthday, or just something that you have that it's coming up, you want to look good for, you have a show that you're going to, and you're just kind of like, I don't even know what to wear. Like, what do I wear to that event? I will go shopping with you. I can totally meet you somewhere. We'll go shopping and, we'll pick 1 or 2 stores, just kind of get a feel for what the event entitles that you're going to be at. And then from there, like, I'll just style you and pick out a couple things. Hey, try this, try that, see how that feels. Or if you don't want to go, I'll go for you. And I'll pick out a couple things and I, bring it back. And I'm like, hey, listen, this is what I have. But we'll sit through and just have you try on a couple pieces just to see which one you actually feel beautiful in. And it's so crazy because there's times that women will put on a dress and it's a simple thing as like a sleeveless dress, and never in their life would they have thought to wear something sleeveless. Like they're just like, I would have never, and like they'll put a dress on and I'm like, oh, well, try this on. Oh, I don't know. Obviously, I don't even tell them. I'm like, oh, try this on. Try this on. Like, I'm not even like, oh, it's sleeveless. I know you don't like sleeve. I'm just like, hey, try this on. And they're so caught up in the moment that they're just like, oh, okay. And they'll try it on and they're just like, oh, I like this. I never wear sleeveless stuff. Like, this looks great on me. And I'm like, yeah, because it's just, you have to be confident. And I'm like, it's okay. Sometimes you just need that push. So I'll do that. I'll do the shopping for you, or we can do it together just to kind of help you. I've done a lot of times women are just like, hey, I just need a couple tips on what to look for. What do you think compliments my body? I don't really have an event that's coming up. I'm just trying to change my style. So I, do that. I do the decluttering of the closet. I tell ladies all the time, majority of the stuff in your closet, you don't wear. And I'm like, they're like, oh, I need something new. I'm like, what's in the closet? Let's talk about what's in the closet first. So I
Yep.
do the whole decluttering, reconstructing of your actual closet. What is it that you have? Because a lot of times I think we get so stuck on how you see something in a store or what the color is, and you forget that it's so versatile. There's so many pieces that you can wear many ways. So I'll go through and look through your closet and pick out like just a couple key pieces and show you, hey, you can wear this with that and this with that, or maybe add this to your closet and you can get 3 or 4 outfits out of just this one piece. So I also offer that. That's another fun. It's so much fun. If you can't tell, I get excited.
So for those who are new here, you guys are listening to the message. My goodness, definitely to this message. You definitely are. No, as well. Can you tell us the end of our day when we're recording this? Can you tell?
Just a little bit.
Just
I was
a
like,
little
yeah,
bit.
my message, Sabi.
You're listening to this podcast, but meanwhile, we are on a video call, so I'm definitely seeing her face and vice versa, obviously. So yes, I could definitely vouch the fact that she just gets her face lights up with such spark and joy when she talks about it. And I agree. I resonate with that. Not with a closet or shopping for clothes precisely.
No.
But it is with like helping others.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that's very serving for others, and I love that, to bring you
Mm-hmm.
in, because even though it feels like, I remember talking to, well, actually it's a special we have it out in Spanish. Actually, we had it back in May, and it's going to continue as well with like spiritual Sundays. We have a little bit in Spanish, a little bit in English, and the one that's in Spanish, even though we talk a lot about things spiritual, our guest, she's a makeup artist and a hairdresser. And she started telling me kind of the same thing. Like, people think it's very vain and very like, oh my God, superficial.
Mm-mm.
And I feel like this kind of aligns with it, with the message. Like, no, it's that confidence, it's that self-love,
Mm-hmm.
it's the way you look. And I mean, we're not here with always believers saying you have to wear makeup every day, you have to wear a dress every day by any means.
Right.
You have to wear and put on makeup or whatever makes you happy, essentially.
Whatever makes you feel good. I always tell people, if you look good, you feel good. And
Mm-hmm.
it's something that I think as women in general, we're nurturers, right? And that's just who we are. And we always put ourselves last, regardless of who it is. If you're a mama bear, you're going to put yourself last, right? Because the kids come first, your husband comes first. That's just guaranteed how it's actually going to happen. If you are someone that, is kind of the cornerstone for the family, and you have to handle everything for your family, your parents, we always just tend to put ourselves last. And we even do it with friends, any type of relationship that we have. And I tell people, if you look good, you feel good. Something happens internally. And when, you start to not dress a certain way, but when you start to dress in a way that, makes you happy, it adds to who you are, and you feel empowered and you feel beautiful. And, sometimes you feel sexy. Your attitude, your walk, everything is totally different. So you go from being this person that did not think that you can apply for this particular promotion, or that you didn't think that you qualified for something. Now you have this confidence. And I tell people, when you are when you're confident in who you are, everyone around you sees that. And that is what they're first attracted to. Normally we say, like, we live in such a shallow world. Partially we do. I also do makeup. I'm a makeup artist as well. I never told you that.
No, you didn't. There you go.
But that's mostly, like, a lot of times, people always think like it's shallow. And I'm like, no, you feel good. I'm like, I still do my makeup, like, a lockdown. Like, I'll still do my makeup. I'll still put on clothes because it makes me feel good. And if it makes me feel good internally, I'm going to project that out. And I'm going to, pour into other people. I'm going to have that. I feel good about myself. My cup is full. So now I'm pouring on to others. I'm able to encourage other women to do things. I'm able to encourage family members and friends. So partially it can be shallow, if you're trying to keep up with the norm that society gives you, but figure out what's good for you, like what actually works for you, what colors work for you. Maybe it's just a matter of incorporating a color into your wardrobe. Like, you're always so used to wearing black, white, and gray, and you're just like, oh, I want to get a yellow shirt. Maybe that it's going to make you feel good. And, a lot of times, like, you'll see certain people and you'll be like, hey, that's your color. That color looks really good on you. It compliments you. And you can see it from internally, it's projecting out. So I definitely, partially shallow, but I guess for me, I don't see it that way. It's
I
more
don't
of
see
just
it that way
helping,
either.
building that confidence from within. And, we're also, I always tell people, like, we have as women, we have such a hard time accepting a compliment, right? Like, when somebody gives you a compliment, and I remember this for years, I struggled with this growing up. Somebody would say, like, oh, your hair looks nice, or, those you look nice today. I always had, like, some type of funny rebuttal just to kind of take the conversation away from me, and something to just, like, make them laugh. And I didn't want to be in the spotlight. And I had to learn, as in my adulthood, like, I had to learn, like, oh, if somebody gives me a compliment, like, I'm taking that. I'm going
You're
to own
taking
that.
it,
Like, if
take
you
that
told,
win.
I'm like, I'm going to take this. If someone's like, oh my God, you look really nice today. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Because it's so foreign for us. I feel like you get uncomfortable, and I'm like, why? You're beautiful. Like, God does not create chunks. So when somebody gives you a compliment, take it. Take it.
Take that win, because you're of course first and foremost completely worth it. And even if you don't have makeup or you don't have makeup, it's just because what you're wearing that day, you put that amount of effort in yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what they're really complimenting, because the fact that someone else looks at you and we're like, oh my God, you look really nice, is because there's a lot of inner work and healing has happened and
Absolutely.
is happening, obviously, to get to that point. And
Mm-hmm.
that's something what we always say with my clients, with our audience in general, that inner work comes in. That's why that's why I brought the topic on purpose, because it's, for me personally, it's not a matter of being vain whatsoever. And what
No.
you even said, a lot of people are locked down because of what's happening, what has happened in general. But what we quickly said before recording, we both work from home. And for me, every single day, I wake up, I do my meditation, I do my yoga, and I get changed and I put on makeup. Some
Absolutely.
days I don't, because I'm super 100% natural and real. And people who follow my Insta stories definitely have seen me without it.
Yeah, that's fine.
But we get changed. Like, I change my clothes, I change
Mm-hmm.
like everything, because it's just a matter of the way I feel and how I approach life. Exactly how you said. So
And we are. I think for a lot of us, we wear like just our emotions on our sleeve a little bit, and I think that when you're mental and spiritually, when you're not doing well, it's going to project outward, and you can see, because I mean, there's times that with family and friends that we go through things in life, and sometimes you just hit like a downslope, and you're just not up for it. You're not feeling well. Maybe you lost your job, or maybe some health issues. Anything can happen, and the last thing you're thinking about is getting dressed. And a lot of times that kind of it projects, it's on you, and it's a process for everybody. It's a process for you to say, like, you know what, I don't feel like it today. I'm a-okay with that. There's no pressure for you to get dressed
Yeah, of
every day.
course
There's no
not.
pressure for
No.
you to wear makeup every day. And I tell people, like, hey, if this is your slump right now, like, I get it, just own it, just be okay with it, but just do it, like, in a healthy way. But then slowly coming out of that, once you start getting to that place that you're just like, okay, well, today I'm going to put some makeup on, you start to feel better. I think it's part of that healing from, just the whole transitioning purpose that you're doing. I think it helps because you feel that you look good. So
Yeah.
internally you're now like, okay, I feel better. Like, I'm starting to feel better.
Exactly. And remember, like, the end goal isn't to wear the dress, the heels, and the makeup at the
Yeah.
end of you feeling better by any means. The end goal of what you do as a profession and what we do over here as well, aligned, is whatever makes you happy. Because,
Yes.
like, I'm happy most of the time without makeup because it's just naturally me.
Yeah.
Whereas have people, have friends, and in general, it's like, oh, I need to have my makeup because that makes me happy.
Yes.
So once again, it's finding your happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And what you were saying, I agree. Feeling your feelings. That just, if it's baby steps towards the
Baby
right
steps. There is
directions.
no race. Yeah, I tell people, I'm like,
It's
baby
not a
steps.
competition. It really
It's
isn't.
definitely not a competition. I'm like, what works for you, that is exactly, as long as it's, in a healthy way, of course,
Yeah, of
right?
course. And remember that you're
Um,
unique as well. You're so different. It's like what you were saying
exactly.
before with like adding that color. We're so unique. And even though we're more or less the same skin color, more or less the same hair color, more or less the same whatever, we're still really different and we're still very unique. So maybe a
Absolutely.
color looks better on me than on you, but not because it's a competition, but because we're simply different and vice
That's
versa.
it. And that is a-okay. Yep.
And I
I
really, really
agree.
love that. I love that because once again, I can tell from your face that whenever you're out helping people, that you're boosting people's confidence and you're giving that kind of self-love. And I have the same feeling, when I get those
Hmm.
messages from my clients or our followers here or community here, sorry, or for like the Always Believer and whatnot. It's so like fulfilling to be like, oh, like you did something good for you today. That's amazing.
Hmm. Hmm.
And look at that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just something I used to, when I used to go into the office, there was a young lady that worked for the same company that I did. We weren't on the same team, but I remember, like, one morning, she was a gordita, and she was like, I look forward to seeing you every day. She's like, because when I see you come in, I'm like, oh, she looks so cute. She's like, and it puts a smile on my face. And I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I never really thought about it. And you think about, like, when you feel good, when you look good, you feel good. And then, it's like people know, everyone's drawn to you. You have more and more people. They're like, hello, good morning. How are you? Because you're projecting that positivity. So I'm big on that as well. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm glad that I, can make you smile every morning. And
Mm,
that's partially what put me at the place of launching Curves with Coffee and the actual blog, because she was just like, I don't know, I just look forward to seeing you. She's like, I know you always have like some funky color on or something, and it's vibrant. And she's like,
love that.
yeah, she's like, you're very, like, I guess I never realized that I did it, but she goes, anytime that there's a rainy day, she's like, you intentionally wear a bright color. She's like, I noticed that about you. And she's like, you'll have on yellow or you'll have on orange or something like that when it's a rainy day out. And she's like, I don't know, it just makes them smile. And I'm like, oh. I'm like,
That's
I
cool.
guess.
Okay.
Yeah, like, I
Thank
never
you.
thought about that. But it's because for me, because the rain, like the weather, I'm just like, oh, it's a rainy day. Well, I don't want to wear all black. Let me get something with color because
There
it's
it
going to make
is.
me feel vibrant, and nothing against anybody who wears all black. But for me, I'm like, let me get that yellow shirt because I need to
I
be
need
out and back.
color. I
Yes.
need color. And right now I don't have a lot of color in my closet, sadly, because when we moved from Spain to the States last year, so I always donate a whole lot of clothes. So I did
Oh, yes.
90% of my clothes got donated. started fresh from here because it's you know, you're moving from again from another continent to a different
Right.
another one, and I know I'm missing color in general, but I know I'm very colorful because I get the kind of the same, not the same compliment of like the vibrant
Hmm.
colors, because right now I don't currently have, but I'm trying to say with my nails, not that they're painted right now in this interview. But in general, if you do see some of my Insta stories and like my post and feed, and if you met me in person, I always have them like in bright colors. Like it doesn't matter if it's like winter, and I have them
Yes.
like multicolored as well. Like they
Yes.
match, but they're like bright purples or bright greens
Yes.
or bright whatever's. And I'm
They
like,
make you feel happy. Like, I don't know.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
something
So
like that. I've had my hair a million colors, so that's a whole different sidetrack of a story.
yeah,
But
we're gonna have to talk about that because I've experimented with colors too.
because I love coloring my hair. I really do. Because I love colors. So
Yeah,
I do understand where that comes from, of course, to have like that
definitely.
boost and whatnot of just sparks,
Hmm.
basically.
Even if it's just like a small pop, I tell people, I'm like, hey, if you're not at that place of being adventurous, like I'll have some of the girls will be like, well, I'm not really adventurous. Like I really don't like colors so much. I'm like, no problem. Let's start with a shoe. Let's get you a pop of color on the shoe.
Let's start you with the shoe. That's so cute,
Let's start
though.
with a shoe. Let's start with a bag. Let's start you off with a necklace. Something with just a
And
pop
that's
of
something that
color.
we do see on your feed, though. I must say that it does show on your feed, not only the pop of color, but those pictures, then that you're, what I love about when I met you and when you reached out to me is that going back and looking at your feed, I can tell that this was generally you. Like, this is the
Yes.
real Ivette Garcia. Like, this is the
Yes.
person that, like, if I meet you physically tomorrow, I know I'm going to meet the exact
This
same
is who you're
person. Exactly. And I'm drawn to that because that's how I portray myself as well online, because, like,
Absolutely. Yes.
why would you be anyone else but yourself?
No,
So,
absolutely. I know when I came across your page, I was like, I love her. I was like, she's my Instagram BFF. I was like, she just doesn't know. So I was like, fangirl. I was like, she's my Instagram BFF. But that's why? Because that's just who you are. You're naturally a happy person. You're naturally positive. This is who you are. So of course I'm going to be drawn to that. But you're also going to have other people that are drawn to that. So they're going to want to follow you. They're going to want to see what you're doing, what exactly is your brand about. Like they're just going to be like, okay, what's going on? Because you're sticking out. Even if you don't want to stick out and you think it's really like the purple polish or something. No, like your personality, that
it's
inner
the
confidence.
personality.
Yeah, that's what
Thank
they
you.
see. I tell people all the time, I'm like, this is what people see, that you see that even though it's just a photo, or even if I'm reading something, if I'm reading a blog, and I tell people that's why, like, my blog is not, it's not like cookie cut. I'm all over, just like I'm having a conversation with you. This is exactly what's going to happen in my blog. I tell people, I'm like, hey, Mijas, how are you? What's going on? Because I want it to be that you're just having a conversation with a friend. At the end of the day, I don't want to be looked at as somebody that's like, oh, she's on this platform. I'm like, no, I'm just your friend. Like, just talk to me about whatever it is, because I'm probably struggling with the same thing you're struggling from. It's different. It's something that for me, I'm like, it has to be this way. I have to be unique and true to me, to who I am. I want you that whenever you meet me in person, when you talk to me on the phone, and when you see my picture, you're just like, oh, that's Ivette. Yeah, like that's just her. I know who she is. Like you're like, that's Ivette. That's her all the time.
Preach. And I definitely congratulate you with that, because it's so important. And much like we need more curvy girls and curvy Latinas to be front and center, basically, the same thing goes for these
Absolutely.
kind of, not only profiles, because like you said, it's not a platform. Like, I'm not here on a pedestal. I'm like, I'm
No,
just going to talk to you.
no.
Hence why when we do these kind of interviews with Go to Fly, for me, as you've noticed for the past few months, people over here listening to us, so lovely, all of you. Thank you for always being there.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So much. It's a conversation. You're here to have a good time, to be sipping on your tea or on your lovely mimosa or on your cafecito,
Yes.
to
Yes,
just,
absolutely.
you're talking to friends. And
That's
that's
it.
what it
And that's
is.
what I love. I love that with your blog, because I'm like, she's relatable. It's not cookie cut, and I'm just not that person.
Yeah, I can't do
And
that.
that's exactly what I get when I read the blog or when I'm listening to one of the posts. I'm like, oh, I feel that you're having a conversation with another friend of mine. I'm just like, oh, those are the girls. That's exactly, I feel welcomed.
And
And
that's so
that's
important.
major. That
Yeah,
is
thank
very
you. Thank you for
major.
that compliment. I'm
I
gonna take
feel,
that compliment. I'm taking
girl,
that win,
take it.
girl.
Take it. I feel welcome, and I don't feel judged. And it's something that I feel comfortable being there and listening and reading. So that's a lot. That means a lot to me. And I know it means a lot to your
Oh,
subscribers and your viewers.
yeah.
Absolutely. So
So
yeah,
thank you.
you
Thank you
guys.
to all of you. So
Yes.
seriously, like, I'm here raising We're here to raise each other up. That's all I can always say.
Amen
You
to
know,
that.
it's like
Yes,
we're here to raise
yes.
each other up. Oh my God, I could talk to you forever, I swear. You
I,
are. You did turn into the BFF. Goodness gracious.
I told you, I was like, we gotta set a time because I'll
Oh
have you
yeah, I
on
know.
here
Yeah,
for a
you wrote
minute.
quite a bit. And usually, if you talk to me, I write back. I'm usually very much on time and whatnot. But with you, you're like, let's do it. Let's just do it. Like I really want to meet you.
Mhm.
I'm like, I love that, and I love that about you because I do see myself reflected because that's how I've met a lot of online people, and
Mhm.
that's how we had like the huge surprise guest on in May as well. Just like knocking down those doors and just be like, come, let's talk. Let's just chat.
Yeah, I'm all
Take the
for
leap.
that. I've made so many friends and like just networking and associates through online. Like it's just kind of like the funny thing. And I've met people from Twitter, not so much Facebook, but more like Twitter, Instagram. And I've come across just like, on a post or conversating through somebody else. And you just become friends. Like you get it. I think it's just the positive vibes. You pick them up and you're just like, oh, this
Definitely.
person's great. This is good. We can kind of vibe. And it's always very interesting when I go to introduce someone that I've met online to like my friends. They're always like, she talks to everyone. I'm like, my mom never taught me to
That's
not talk to
me.
strangers. Yo hablo con todo el mundo.
That's me though. That's a mini side story, I swear. Because it's just so small. But my husband, he's from here. We met in Spain. That's a whole long story. And I'm Latin. I'm very sociable. I'm myself, as we clearly keep saying. And the other day we were talking about like how I met a couple of my friends, like our friends in general, and two of
Mm-hmm.
them. One of them met at the beach, and the other one I met at the bar.
Yeah.
And he's like, how do you do that? And they're like really good friends of mine today. They're
Yeah.
like really
For
good
years.
close friends.
Years.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, we just started talking at the beach. We were just, I
Yeah.
don't know, just hanging around. Like everyone else was playing on volleyball or something else. We were
And
just
you
like
just
laying
talked.
down and we just talked. Just
Yeah.
mingled. There you
It
go.
really just happens. I think when it's genuine and it's natural, it's just gonna happen. Like everywhere I go, like I'll talk to people. It doesn't matter if we're like on vacation. I'll start talking to someone and my boyfriend's like, oh, there she goes. And he's like, oh my God. And then he's like, oh, remember the people that were, I'm like, oh yeah. And it's always like a thing.
Exactly.
I just talk to everybody. And I feel like sometimes a simple hello or sharing a laugh with someone or just a couple conversations with them, I think it goes a long way because you don't know what somebody else is going through. You don't know how they're
Exactly.
struggling, what
And
their day looked like. So your simple hello or your simple joke is just, they're just like, oh, they feel better about it. So
that's exactly what I was thinking when we're talking about all this. This is a perfect way to kind of wrap not only sadly our conversation because we've been recording for a while now. But
sorry.
no, it's not you. No, don't be sorry. No. No, we gotta get rid of that stigma of being sorry for
I
nothing.
know. I know. I know.
Like we're just being ourselves and we're just having fun. And I'm sure our audience is just laughing their butts off basically. But
Absolutely.
still wrapping up,
Absolutely.
it's that. Just be happy, be healthy. I forgot completely what we were saying. But hey, here we are again. Something I
I
forgot. I'm
can't. I
sorry,
can't.
Team Flyer. I'm so sorry.
This is it. We were talking about just being nice and
Exactly. And
sharing that
here we
positivity
are.
with other people and meeting strangers, talking to strangers. We're talking about how we talk to strangers.
Community. There you go. Thank you. There you go. Thank
Yes,
you very much about so community. So through all the, through the time that we've gone through in life in general, but specifically now with COVID-19 and everything else around it, without getting into further detail, community is so important and reaching out to people is
absolutely.
so important. Um, through the good and the bad. It doesn't have to be COVID-19. It's not going to be COVID-19 forever, obviously.
Right,
Thankfully, I mean, come on,
right.
but still reach out because what you said, you never know what the other person's going through. First of all,
Hmm.
and also it just kindness matters.
It
It's
does.
that kindness
It's
matters.
simple. That is it. You can drop the mic right there. Kindness does.
That's it. That's all.
Just drop the mic right there. Kindness does
And that's
matter.
it for the end of the episode. No,
Yeah, that's
we do.
that's it. I can't with you.
I, I know, right? Team Fire was like, all right, to get with it, please.
Yeah,
Like, now you all know how my friends feel when they're talking to me.
same.
Like, now you know. All right. Let's go back into the topic.
Uh-huh.
We're basically almost done, and I'm going to ask you the same three questions I ask every single guest because I
Yes.
always love to hear their point of view. And
Uh-huh.
What are 3 words to describe you?
Ooh, 3. Poderosa, confident, faithful. Those are 3
Perfection.
words.
Perfection.
Yeah.
For those of my beautiful non-bilingual, or not, maybe you could be bilingual, but non-Spanish speakers, sorry, you
Yes.
can be
Right.
bilingual
Yes.
for other
Right.
languages, so
Right.
sorry.
Yes.
Poderosa means powerful. Just a heads up. But
Yes.
yes, usually
Yes.
I have a mix of both, so like, there you go.
Right.
Poderosa, I love that. I love that, of course, so much. Just the 3 words you said. What are
Yeah.
you thankful
Thanks.
for, Yvette?
What am I thankful for? Oh, that's a lot. I'm thankful. First, let me say my health at this current moment, right? I'm definitely thankful for my health. I'm thankful for my family. Definitely my mother. She struggled. She did everything on her own my whole entire life. So I'm thankful for just her strength and her confidence and her boldness that she kind of instilled in me. And I'm thankful for just the friends that I have, the sisterhood that I have. They're amazing. They're great. They're just amazing group of women that are constantly there for me, good and bad, when I fall, and when I'm flying high. So
Yay,
definitely.
community.
Yay,
Yay,
community.
friendships. Yay.
Definitely.
And kindness matters.
Kindness matters, pa que sepan.
And self-love, self-care.
Sí, un poquito, un
Um,
poquito. We talked about yoga earlier.
exactly. Now we're going to dive right in because my goodness, we both need a break. That and a little bit of wine. I mean,
Cafecito, cafecito.
cafecito.
Yes.
So where can we find you, darling?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram, Curves with Coffee. I'm also on Twitter, same exact handle, and my blog is curveswithcoffee.com. And definitely just reach out, say hello, jump in my DM and just be like, hey girl, I heard you on the podcast, just wanted to say hello. Simple as that. That's where you can find me.
Exactly.
Yes.
Just no need to say anything more. There you go. All the links are dropped down below, obviously, and in all social media, you're gonna find her link everywhere through the Always Believer newsletter or everything else in between. So they're definitely gonna find a place to find you because we make sure of it, of course.
Thank you. And thank
So
you for taking the time to just have this conversation with me, right? It's not like yes, it's a podcast, but it's more of a, fellowship and time with an amiga. So I
it
love that.
is. It is. It's one of those just a boost of energy
Yes.
and motivation and whatever comes out through a conversation like this and finding inspirational stories like yours. That's what Go to Fly is all about, the movement. That's what Team Flyer, the Always Believer, Ariadna, I mean, everything mentioned above,
Yeah.
all in one.
Everything.
So
Yeah, you
yes.
guys definitely are. Yeah. I do follow you on all platforms as well too.
Yes, no, I
Definitely.
agree. I see you. I see you there. I love
Sorry.
community, I
Stalker.
swear.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah, I got a
community.
number 1 fan, people. I got a number 1
Yeah.
fan.
That's right, girl. I made it. Mama, I
I
made
know.
it.
Oh, I swear we're going to wrap this up in 2 seconds. I
We
promise you
are,
all.
we are. Vamos, vamos.
Okay, so of course we take a deep breath.
Yes.
We relax a little bit. So I know you enjoyed this episode, so thank you very much for listening. We do have new episodes every single Wednesday, both in Spanish and in English, because we are a
I
bilingual
love that.
platform, and
Yes, I love that you guys
we
do
are.
that.
Thank you very much. It's twice the work, and it's just twice worth it. It's just worth it. I love talking in Spanish and English with every single one of you. We also have the brand new announcement, which lines up perfectly, called Latina. So you're gonna go. I'm gonna all links down below. What Latina is, who we are. We're also Curvilicious, Nastasia and me, and we're definitely happy that that's gonna be a plan of life. So for all Latinas who are listening or not Latinas, just it's a place where we can all gather and speak our truth as well. Just that's very much a Latina community, hence the name. Whereas Always Believer is for all of us, obviously. So, check us out anywhere and everywhere. As always, through the Always Believer and my personal one, the Ariadna Redondo, and sign up for a newsletter and sign up for our free
Yes,
Facebook group and share your stuff and share your life because we're a community and kindness matters.
it does.
There you go. Have a good rest of evening, my lovely Yvette.
Yes, thank you.
Bye, love.
Bye. Take care of yourself. Bye.